Morning, folks. Paul with Patriot Appliance Repair. Saturday morning, Leander, Texas, working on an LG an LG dryer. We're going to be replacing the terminal block and the power cord. Stay tuned for the video. Alright, here we go. LG dryer. Customer complained that the dryer wasn't coming. So, a lot of times we get called from various customers across the city of Austin, and they call us. They say, "Hey, Paul, my dryer's not heating." And sometimes they say the dryer's spinning, it's turning, and sometimes it's not. In this particular situation, obviously it cannot be turning. If you take a look over here, this in the back of the dryer is what we call a terminal block. Terminal block is made out of plastic. The purpose of it being it's real thick plastic, okay? And it has 3 different slots. And if you look here, this is the power cord, the new power cord that we're going to put on. We have 3 different cables. Now, we have the 4th one. These 2 guys go together. We'll show you when we attach it. Or it has its own slot, but this is a ground. So here's the 3 different individual cables. Hot, hot, and neutral. And this is what they do, is they go in outside, outside, and in the middle. You'll see a little bit better, but anyway. We have 110 volts on this leg, we have 110 volts on this leg, and then this one is a ground. As you can see, the green and the white, the ground, are together in the middle. Well, what happened here is the reason why this is roasted like this is the 220 volts that comes out of the wall on this particular leg. It's only supposed to be about 110, but I'm assuming it was a little bit more than 110 volts in order for that to be completely eaten up like that. So that's what we're going to be working on today, guys. We're going to replace this terminal block, take all this off. I had another one of my buddies. He's in East Dallas, and he bought an old cooktop, a stove, and they have a similar terminal block on the cooktop itself. But what happened is this guy, whoever did it, didn't know too many electrical principles, and we're not expecting, physician's assistants or doctors or lawyers, to be able to know electrical. I don't know electrical that much. I know enough for my trade, but I don't step out there and try to do certain things outside of my trade, which is a pretty important principle because I've come across many repairs that customers try to, on a Saturday, instead of drinking beer with their buddies and watching UT or Dallas Cowboys playing football, they want to come over here and tinker without watching any videos, without really informing themselves, and they ended up burning out, $400 or $500 worth of electronics on stoves, dryers, whatever. So before you do anything else, whether you choose to look at our videos, you look at it, there's so much information on YouTube. It's super, super, super important. Lastly, if you don't have any of that information, you just want some free information, call Patriot Appliance Repair, 512-903-0641. I always pick up the phone and I'll talk to any customer and give them free information in regards to how to fix their appliances, or at least ask, So anyway, getting back to the story about my buddy, he had apparently whoever owned that particular cooktop on a terminal block, what he did is, if you see the size of these screws, they're pretty short, and there's a reason for them being short like that. These are the screws that hold that particular wire in. Well, he used a long screw, right? So there's that knowledge about electrical principle. What he did is he put a screw in this long. Well, what do you think that happened? Is when he put the screw in, he plugged it in, the electrical current, instead of going into the machine itself and into the main control board, it shorted out and it burned out a whole lot of things. You see what I'm saying? So a $600-700 gas range that could have been used for 10-20 years just burned out a $250 control board, and he threw it away. And my buddy picked it up and we fixed it. But it's all because he used one screw that was longer than this. So it's no foul, no harm, because he didn't know. But anytime you see certain things, always try to, so if I take out this screw, this is not going to affect anything because this particular screw has no, so this one's a little bit longer than this one, but I'm not going to take this long screw and replace this short one with this one. Only because I know that, hey, you see my point? So this might not be that much difference, but anyway, I'm going to get off of that subject. But just always be informed. Anytime you do anything when it comes to appliances, 110 volts or 220 volts, it's not very good idea to just guesstimate or think like, hey, is this correct? If you can see here, this right here, we're going to have to cover that up. You see that white mark on there? That's another burn. This probably attacked. It jumped whenever it arced out. So for this is a Whirlpool kit. Part number 279320. This is a pretty common kit for terminal blocks. We can use it all the way across, okay? So we're going to splice the top cables. All of these I'm going to cut off. We're going to put the new terminal block in here, like that. And then we're going to actually, it's the other way around, like that. That's how we put it on, like that. And all the cables from the top are going to come in, and then the cable from the bottom. So let's get to work. Not a very, on a scale from what, 1 to 10, this might be like a 3 or a 4. If you've done a little bit of electrical work in your life, all you have to do is just always be careful. Use a lot of electrical tape. Use nuts to really insulate correctly. You know, you don't want to ground out. You don't want to jump. You want to keep your electricity where it's supposed to be. All right. Now, getting back to how we started the conversation about the dryer not coming on. So obviously, in this particular situation, we don't have any electricity going to where it needs to because one of the legs was cut off. But a lot of other times, whether you have electrical storms, power storms, thunderstorms outside, very, very common thing. A lot of customers call, Paul, my dryer's not working. It's tumbling, it's spinning, it's coming on. I can hear it turn, but it doesn't produce any heat. And so this is only with electrical. This is only with electrical dryers. When a dryer doesn't come on, is because it doesn't have 220 volts. Each individual leg is supposed to be. Let's look at it on this side, right? So this one's supposed to have 110, and then this one's supposed to have 110. So combined, we're supposed to have 220. So it fluctuates anywhere from 220 to 240. After power storms, what happens is from the electrical company, sometimes electricity drops off of one of the legs. So if I don't have combined 220, if one of the legs drops off, I only have 110 volts. Guess what? Some dryers will come on. This one might not even come on without 220 because this main control board steps down to 220 to certain parts of the dryer, and certain parts of it get only 110. But anyway, some dryers won't even come on at all, but the ones that do come on won't heat because you don't have 220 volts. So prior to calling an appliance repair company, if you have a voltmeter, you could come back here, and if you're good, I mean, I don't want you electrocuting yourself by any means, but if you know how to operate a voltmeter and put on, you know, if you have something like this, it's a little more expensive. You just go to voltage. This is it's not an analog voltmeter; it's an electronic voltmeter, so you can read it, you know. But if you have the analog ones, you want to make sure you're at 220 to like 250. Don't put it at 180, 220 because you're going to burn out your voltmeter. So whenever you put it on volts, make sure you're always higher from 220 to 250. But anyway, if you have a voltmeter, you take a voltmeter, you check it out from side to side. If you don't have 220 volts, there's no reason in calling an appliance repair company. It's because you have no power coming into your household. You call your power company, whoever supplies electricity to your household, wherever you're paying your electrical bill on a monthly basis. You call them up and say, hey guys, I checked my power behind my dryer. I don't have any electricity coming through. Can you please send somebody? And what they'll do, it's a free service from the electrical company. They'll send somebody to come to your house. They'll check if you have 220 volts outside to the breaker of your house. If you do, then at that point, they're going to be like, hey, we do have electricity coming into your house. You will need an electrician. But to figure out why you have electricity coming out to your breaker, but you don't have any electricity coming into your house. So anyway, but all that to say this. After storms, very likely that your power dropped off, as opposed to, you know, your dryer just mysteriously breaking right after a power, right after a big storm. So what I'm doing is I'm getting all my stuff ready so we can splice it real quick. Almost done there. So Saturday morning, lazy Saturday. Well, a late start today, but we are in Leander, Texas, working on an LG dryer. A couple more calls today. Going South Austin. And alright, here we go. It's kind of short, but we can make it work. Make it work. So, here's what I like to do. Is I like to leave a little bit of extra. It's pretty simple, but I shouldn't have to talk about it. But I leave a little bit of extra, cut it all off at the top. And you want to hold your dikes a little bit like this, otherwise you'll have those little hairs anywhere. And if you have little babies and stuff like that, you don't want them to step on that. You know, if you have little kids walking around barefooted, anytime you do any kind of repairs in your laundry room, kitchen, dryer, and everything else, and you have kids in the house, make sure you get a vacuum and pick up those little wires. Anything that you cut and splice, it's gonna have little fine wires. You don't want them ended up in your kids. Happened in my house. Actually, my ex's household, she broke a jar of pickles, and the glass found its way into my son's leg. Not an ideal situation to find out about your kids, but anyway, keep it clean, guys. Keep it clean. All right, so this is one of our legs. This is gonna be one of the 110s. It's all spliced. It's got a cap on it, so all the wire is in that cap. So it's insulated really, really well. But I like to put a lot of electrical tape on there, just to make sure it stays on there for a long period of time. And there's another little thing I did yesterday at another customer's house. They were fixing a terminal block, and Genius Paul decides to grab it with his hand, and I cut myself right there. This, whenever you try to take this screw off, you want to hold it with something, okay? Preferably with a channel lock, or if you have a crescent wrench, hold this in the bag. Don't try to grab it, because this is on real tight. I grabbed it by my hand and I put my drill on it and spun it right over and cut myself. So only when you take this off. When you put it back on, it should be fine, but you'll see what happens when you put it on. But take that off and keep it in one place. Alright, so one of our legs is done. We're going on to the next one. It doesn't matter which one you splice when, as long as when you do get finished and you start splicing them together, that you stay really accurate on the color. You don't want to change colors. That's pretty simple, but I guess I should mention it. All right, here's leg number 2. These come with their own. These come with their own caps, but I try to use this. This is really, really, really flimsy, so I don't like it. I pick mine up a little sturdier. I like to be sturdy all the way around. This gets real weak right here, so when I just don't like them. Anyway, I picked these up at Home Depot or Lowe's, so I'm sure those will do the job. Those will do the trick. If you want to save $1 or $2, then I guess you can use those. They come in the pack. Alright. Get this one here. Alright. Mr. Ben Boot in the Fire of God this morning is awfully quiet. I suppose he's not supposed to say anything because he's just videotaping. So I'm the one supposed to be narrating this video, which I will be, but I think we're going to do this a little more unconventional today. And we're going to change the camera. Alright, this is the cameraman. His name is Benjamin Booten. He is one of the technicians here at Patriot Appliance Repair. He does all the marketing. Ben, say hey, good morning.
Good morning, guys.
What's your
Hope
name?
y'all having a good Saturday today.
That's right. Give us some scripture for today.
For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and love and a sound mind. 1 Timothy 1:8.
Amen to that.
Amen.
That's right. Y'all see here, we're a Christian company. We talked a little bit about it the other day. Philippians 2:9-11. Philippians 2:9-11 says, therefore God has highly exalted him and given him the name that is above every name, so that at the name of Jesus Christ, every knee will bow in heaven, on earth, and under the earth, and every tongue will confess that Jesus Christ is Lord. So, we're going to continue on with the video. Our brother Ben gave us the word. We got the second word right here. We're going to get back to the video. I just want y'all to know who's making these great videos. His name is Benjamin Booten. I call him the fire of God. Because anytime you have a question regarding anything, especially about God's word, he's going to put it out there. Customer calling us up about lawnmower repair. Sometimes Google sends us a bunch of calls with people that need lawnmower repairs, but we only work on the major appliances. We work on refrigerators, cooktops, drop-in cooktops, freestanding ranges, washers, dryers, refrigerators, single ovens, double ovens, washers, obviously dryers, and what else? That's pretty much it. We don't work on blenders, microwaves, toasters, drop-in freezers. We don't work on standalone freezers. We don't work on, and wine coolers. One time we had a customer, real frustrated customers. Here's I guess this is good information. We had a customer call us up one morning. I don't remember what day was or the week, but he's like, "Hey Paul, do you guys work on wine coolers?" And I said, "No sir, we do not." And so the next question was from the customer, said, "Hey, do you consider wine coolers throwaway items?" And I said, "No sir, I do not." And he's like, "How come no contractors work on those?" So if you guys ever see this video and you have a wine cooler and it breaks, or any appliance that breaks that somebody cannot service it, the easiest and fastest route, if you call 2 or 3 different contractors and they say, "Hey, I'm sorry, we don't work on that," just call the manufacturing company. Oh yeah, pay attention. Here's the other square. You hold it from the back, take that off, put it over here, put that down. But if there's a contractor that can work on a certain appliance, the easiest and fastest way of finding out who is going to be able to service your broken appliance is each individual appliance has a model and serial number. Here, man, come over here, look at this. Let me show the customers. Alright, so this is a washing machine. Over here is where you're supposed to have it, but you don't have it. Most washing machines have it in here. Let's see if it's on the back. Alright, come over here, Ben, and show the customer. In this particular situation, you have to be creative. Come over here, show them with the camera, and point down here. Alright, see that's your model and serial number. So you have a plate that says model serial number on it, and on there you want to take a picture of that before you call the manufacturing company and say, "Hey, who works on this particular LG washing machine? I can't seem to find a contractor in the city of Austin." So you call LG technical department and say, "Hey, give me a list of all your vendors that work on that particular machine." They'll give you a list, and then you can look at the list, whether it's 5 or 10 contractors in the city of Austin that work on that machine, and you kind of get on Google, Yelp, whatever, and screen them out and figure out if they're good contractors or bad contractors. So that's one way of figuring it out. Alright, we're going to put in our terminal block on this side, so we're going to start putting it back together. Now you see, nice and clean. We got a lot of electrical tape. We got all our caps on because this is going to sit in here. We don't want any electricity going onto this metal. We don't want no jumping electricity anywhere. The only place we want it to go is where it's supposed to go, okay? Alright, terminal block. I need my stuff down here. What do I need? I need screws. I need these. I need these. I need this. Boom, boom, boom. Alright, bear with me there, Benzotronics. We're almost done. Where's my other square? I only have one square. 2 squares. Alright, I guess. 3. Wow. Misplaced 2 squares, huh? Alright. Keep it on here. Alright, I need that. I need this. I need that. Power cord. Alright. Alright, so let's put this back on here. This is down here so it's not really affecting anybody. Alright, now this is something we're going to put on last. these actually holds the cord in place. Let's see what we'll put this on. We're gonna just slide it down. We don't need it right now, so get it out of the way. But this ground, when we have the terminal block, they can stay together on one, or they can, or I like to put the green on here like that. So these two I'm gonna put on one leg. But first, I'm gonna push this through. Okay, get yourself enough slack. Get it like that. Then, if I'm gonna use these, let's put this on here, like that. Put this on here. Get our ground screw. Get it started. Go and get it started. If you don't, it's no big deal. But, alright, so it's our ground. So now I still have 3 cables left on that side. We have 3 on this side. And I can come up like that. It's perfect. Alright, now, so here's the fun part. I am missing one little square. So let's start off with, push this to the side like this. So y'all want to see what I'm trying to do. Let's get these out. That's the control board back there. So you want to be mindful of the control board. Get that out. Let's start off with the black. Alright, put down. You gotta put your square in here. Alright, so the square piece sits in there, like that. You take your black cable, and you come from behind it, and you gotta slide it underneath. I don't know if you can see it. It's got those 2 black tabs right there. So you slide it up, and then you kind of let the square behind it, you let it line up, drop down where it lines up. You can pull up on it, and so now you see that, right? And then look for your cable for your black on this side. Should have actually been. It looks like we're opposite, so we'll take this out. We'll put the left. We're gonna do it on this side because black is all the way on the other side. So let's do this. Pull it in, put it down, slide underneath. Alright. We got a lot of cables, not to confuse each other, but put this on top, like that. Take your screw, go in there, and you want to get it started a little bit. Yep. One more time. I have a magnet on the back of my Phillips, so that helps a lot. Alright, that's our first one, right? Go on to our next one. That's more money. Another one was that? I was looking for it. I guess we never took it off. I thought we misplaced all these squares. Alright. So now we got our white on there. Let's do the top part. This should be our second. Alright, put your square. Drop your square in there. Make sure it's in there. You don't want to put this on here first. You see how I'm moving it around? If you put it on there first, you'll be real frustrated because it's difficult, you know, to line things up and get stuff right. So just make sure you just have it loose until you get it all tightened down. Once you get it tightened down, then once you get it all tightened down, and move this up a little bit. There you go. Once you get it all tightened down, then you can put it on. There's no problem. But in the beginning, you don't want to do that because you'll be real frustrated trying to line everything up and twist all these. These are all thicker cables because you're pushing a lot of electricity through them, so they use thicker insulation. They use thicker everything for that particular reason. All right, frustrating. here. There you go. Like that. Voila. Here. Put that on there. Put this on. Here. Slide this back. Gotta get onto these tabs and make sure you get onto those 2 black tabs, otherwise it's not gonna be a pretty day. Just remember that. I don't know much I can say about that, but just make sure you get under there. Get your screw on there. And voila, that is our third. Alright, see how it spun? First, because it didn't go in right. Still don't go right. This doesn't want to be touching correctly. Seems to be the problem there, buddy. Looks good there. Let's try this one more time. Alright, perfect. Alright, we're in there, folks. So now it's important to kind of work this down a little bit here. Get these cables out of the way. This is not good. I'll take this off for a second. I'll let this go in the front like that. We'll put this afterwards. I could put this behind. And put this behind here. And there. Alright, so that's the more important thing. Alright, now take a look down here. You make sure you have enough space where my finger can go through, because this can jump up. L1 and L2, it can jump the electricity from here to here. So once you put these screws on there, you'll see in just a second that you'll have plenty of space. I mean, the engineers, when they designed that, they're mindful of that. So make sure that you put both of these screws on. Don't leave this off like, oh yeah, it's connected, it's tight, because this is going to be too close right here and it could jump over, okay? So if it's asking for 2 screws, use 2 screws. Alright, that's that. We need our screw right here. This one goes here. This one seems like a little short, but we got plenty of slack. Perfect. Alright, that's that. This seems a little loose, but this is tight, this is tight, this is tight. Now, you see this plastic's pretty thick. This is all made out of thick plastic because they don't want the electricity going from here to here to here, right? It doesn't want to go like this. They want the electricity to go straight up and straight in. And then you look in there, pull my light on. You see how I straighten out my cables? These back here, they're all insulated, so they're fine. That's why I put a whole lot of electrical tape and on my caps. I got thick caps, so there's no chance of any of the electricity. This is a little bit exposed here and here, but I straighten them out like this, where all the electricity goes straight up, straight up, straight up. This one doesn't have electricity, but that's that. Last part, take this off, take this off. Holds it in, take that off, kind of slide this up. Let's see if we can do it this way. Put this on, get in there, like that. Get your other screw on here, and all this does is it holds this cable tight, so it doesn't, when you move the machine, you're not really ripping, you're not pulling on the cable. That's all this does. That's all you're doing. That's it. Put that on. Put it through. Use your Phillips. Just start a little bit on one side. You drop your screw on the other side. And then flip them both up. That's it. Everybody's nice and secure. Last screw goes on the back. Cover it up. Drop your screw on, and we are good as golden. Alright folks, a little longer video than I anticipated on a simple repair like this. This should kind of have helped you also if you're changing from a 4-prong to a 3-prong. The 3-prong is also a thick cable like this, but it's made out of, it's all grade. The 4-prong is because it has 4 cables inside it. The 3-prong only has 3. It has the outside 110, 110, and one of them is a gray, and that one's gray. It's kind of like a flat cable. And if you watch this video, you should be able to do exactly the same thing. The only thing you would be missing is a green wire. So everything else will be exactly the same. So, my name is Paul, Patriot Appliance Repair. Appreciate you guys spending a little bit of time with us this afternoon. God bless you guys. You guys have a great day.